questions and the answers. Okay, questions and answers. If somebody say, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? That person wants to know your name. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? When we use this expression, ¿Cómo te llamas? We are using an informal Spanish. An informal Spanish. Remember, in Spanish, we have formal and informal Spanish. If you want to be a little more formal, and we use formal when we don't know the person, okay? We don't know the person, we say, instead of ¿Cómo te llamas? I'm going to write it here. You say, ¿Cómo? Give me one second. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama o cómo se llama usted? O cómo usted se llama. You might hear people say either way. ¿Cómo se llama usted o cómo usted se llama? Right? ¿Cómo se llama? Is like the short version of it. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? And then you say, hola. Hola, mi nombre es Diego. Mi nombre es Diego. Well, this hola is no need to use it there, okay? When somebody asks you your name, you just answer, mi nombre es Diego. Hola is when you want to be a little more formal and you want to still be able to greet that person, but there's no need. If somebody asks you your name and you're comfortable to answer, to talk to that person, you just say straight away, mi nombre es Diego. Or you can also say, yo me llamo Diego. Yo me llamo Diego. Some people get confused because when they're using yo me llamo, they sometimes say yo me llamo es. Yo me llamo es, which is wrong. You are not supposed to say yo me llamo es. You just say yo me llamo and then you mention your name. Hola, mi nombre es Diego. Hola, yo me llamo Diego. Disculpe, excuse me, disculpe, ¿cómo se llama? Disculpe, ¿cómo se llama? Disculpa, ¿cómo te llamas? Disculpa, ¿cómo te llamas? Excuse me, what's your name? Disculpa, disculpe, ¿cómo te llamas? Excuse me, what's your name? And then you say, mi nombre es Diego. Now, let's move on to the next question. The next question is, ¿de dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres is the short version, the short way to answer, to ask that question. Okay? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? Good question. ¿De dónde eres? Or you can also say, ¿de dónde es usted? Let me write it here. Let me type it here. ¿De dónde es usted? Now, let's talk about this question. ¿De dónde es usted? Is a question we use when we want to sound formal. When we want to sound formal in Spanish, we say, ¿de dónde es usted? ¿De dónde es usted? Now, repeat after me. ¿De dónde es usted? ¿De dónde es usted? Repeat after me. ¿De dónde es usted? Remember, this is the formal way to ask that question. When you want to sound polite, you should say, you should ask, ¿de dónde es usted? But it's the same thing. ¿De dónde es usted? ¿De dónde eres? And then you answer that question. Yo soy de Colombia. Yo soy de Colombia. You should mention your country. ¿De dónde eres? Yo soy de Panamá. Yo soy de Panamá. Yo soy de Estados Unidos. United States, Estados Unidos. Repeat. Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos. ¿De dónde eres? Disculpe. Excuse me. Disculpe. ¿De dónde eres? Ah, yo soy de Estados Unidos. Disculpa. ¿De dónde eres? Ah, yo soy de Estados Unidos. Yo soy de España. Yo soy de Colombia. Yo soy de México. Yo soy de Corea. Yo soy de Inglaterra. Yo soy de Australia. Okay, let's move on to the third question. This is actually the third question. Number one, ¿cómo te llamas? Number two, ¿de dónde eres? Number three, ¿cuántos años tienes? Repeat after me. ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Ah, it's easy. Sencillo. Yo tengo. That's the answer. Yo tengo. In Spanish, we use to have. In English, you say to be. But it's the same. Well, I'm not going to get into this, but yeah. Languages you cannot discuss or you just gotta go with the flow. Remember that. ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Yo tengo 24 años. Yo tengo 24 años. Yo tengo 24 años. ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? It's very common to ask that way. We don't say ¿cuántos años tienes tú? We don't usually ask that question, but it could happen. It depends on where you're going, what country you're visiting, what Spanish speaking country you're going to. If you go to Colombia, people say, hey, vecino, ¿cuántos años tienes? That's what people will ask. Oiga, oiga, amigo, ¿cuántos años tiene? Hey, friend. We use the word amigo, vecino, neighbor. Those words we use to kind of like feel a little more familiar to the person. And we as a culture, we are very welcoming to people. Then we say, "Hola, amigo." We are hard, warm-hearted. Then we say, hola amigo, ¿cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Then you say your age. Now, let's move on to the following question. Vamos a la siguiente pregunta. Vamos a la siguiente pregunta. Let's go to the next question. ¿A qué te dedicas? ¿A qué te dedicas? That's the question you should ask whenever you want to know what is the person doing to make a living. What is his job? We say, ¿a qué te dedicas? ¿A qué te dedicas? There are some others that I'm going to share with you because when you go, like, let's say you're in Colombia, you are like walking down the street and people ask you questions. We like to talk, we like to be friendly to people. And people might ask you, instead of saying, ¿a qué te dedicas? ¿A qué te dedicas? They might ask you, amigo, ¿usted qué hace? Amigo, usted, amigo, ¿usted qué hace? Okay. That means like, friend, what do you do? That might sound a little bit weird, a little bit strange, but that's language. Amigo. Remember, amigo is a phrase we use, a word we use to kind of like connect, make this person feel like we know from a long time. Amigo, ¿usted qué hace? Like, friend, what do you do? That's kind of like the literal translation. Es la traducción literal. Amigo, ¿usted qué hace? That person is not asking you like, what are you doing at the moment? Mm-mm. That's not what he wants to ask. That's not what he means. He means, what do you do? ¿A qué te dedicas? Amigo, ¿usted qué hace? Amigo, ¿usted qué hace? And then you tell him or you tell her, oh, yo soy entrenador. I am a coach. Yo soy entrenador. Yo soy taxista. Yo soy arquitecto. I'm an architect. Yo soy profesor. Yo soy doctor. I'm a doctor. Yo soy ingeniero. I'm an engineer. Entonces, esta es la pregunta. ¿A qué te dedicas? ¿A qué te dedicas? Is formal. Okay. ¿A qué te dedicas? But if you run into someone and that someone asks you, hey, amigo, ¿qué hace? Amigo, ¿qué hace? Then he wants to know, like, what do you do? Then you say, oh, amigo. Then you answer using the same word, amigo. Amigo, yo soy taxista. Amigo, yo soy taxista. If you use the word, you recycle what that person is using. you might easily blend in. You might easily um people will not easily find out that you're not from that country, like you're from a different country. If you start recycling using the same thing people are using, of course they will know because of the accent or everything like that. But they might think you are, depending on how you look physically, they might think you're from a different city, a different um, let's say town, but not from that specific place. If you sound like somewhere in the country, in this case Colombia. Now, the next question is, ¿cuál es tu estado civil? 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 That means, what's your marital status? What's your marital status? That person wants to know if you are single, married, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that person wants to know that. ¿Cuál es tu estado civil? What's your marital status? Okay. ¿Cuál es tu estado civil? ¿Cuál es tu estado civil? That's the common question. But you might be a strike. You might be a striking with. Yeah, you might be striking with this question. ¿Estás casado? If it is a woman asking to a man, ¿estás casado? Okay, ¿estás casado? And then, hold on, there's a typo. ¿Estás casado? Okay, it's a woman asking a man, ¿estás casado? And then you say, no, no, yo estoy soltero. No, I'm married. No, yo estoy soltero. No, yo estoy soltero. But let's say you are married. You say, sí, sí, yo estoy casado. This should be your answer. Sí, yo estoy casado. Sí, yo estoy casado. Sí, yo estoy casado. Sí, yo estoy casado. Yes, I'm married. Sí, yo estoy casado. Yo estoy casado. Muy bien. Practice at home. Remember, practice at home. Continue learning Spanish with Carlos. Yes, with Spanish for y'all. Okay. All right. Sigamos. ¿Cuál es tu estado civil? ¿Cuál es tu estado civil? But now, this is the question. People might ask you, instead of asking you, ¿cuál es tu estado? People want to sound polite, don't want to sound, like informal. They will ask this question: ¿Cuál es su estado civil? Okay, remember, ¿cuál es tu? When you hear the word tu, it's more informal. Informal doesn't mean it's bad. Don't get confused with that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. When somebody say, ¿Cuál es tu estado? Tu, that means it's formal. It's trying to be like, okay, I know this person. We cool, But if it is that person asking the question is younger than you, it is expected that he or she use ¿Cuál es su estado civil? Disculpe, excuse me. ¿Cuál es su estado civil? Disculpe, ¿cuál es su estado civil? Excuse me, what your marital status? Okay? Su is formal, tu informal. Okay? Tu is what? Informal. That's right. Su is formal. All right. Let's move on now to the next exercise. Now let's introduce ourselves. Let's learn how to introduce yourself. Okay. Let's say you get to a building and there are thousands of people there. You need to introduce yourself in Spanish. We're going to learn how to introduce yourself just using basic, answering basic questions like what's your name, where you from, what's your age, what's your marital status, what's your job, okay, what do you do? Those, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 5, Vamos a responder estas 5. I'm going to start. This is me in the picture. It was a long time ago, last year, when I was going to somewhere in South America. All right. So I took that at the airport. All right. So presentándome, presentándome. That means introducing myself. Okay. Introducing myself. Presentándome, presentándome. I will, of course, start with hola. Remember, hola means hi. Hola, 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 hola. Mi nombre es Carlos. Yo tengo 35, 35, 35 años. Yo soy, yo soy de Colombia. Yo soy de Colombia. Colombia, no Colombia, Colombia, Colombia. It sounds the same. Columbia, South Carolina. People get confused. Okay, Colombia, the country. Yo estoy casado. Yo estoy casado. I am married. That's how you should say it. Yo estoy casado. Yo estoy casado. Yo estoy casado. Y por último, last but not least, you say, yo soy profesor. Yo soy profesor. Yo soy profesor. Let me clarify something. Let me tell you something. In Colombia, we use the word profesor a lot. But if you go to countries like Mexico, people might use the word maestro. Yo soy maestro. You might hear people saying yo soy maestro instead of yo soy profesor, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. People, depending on the country you're going to, you might hear maestro or profesor if it is a male teacher. If it is a female teacher, you're going to hear people say maestra, maestra. In countries like Mexico, it's mostly where you're going to hear that maestra. If you go to Colombia, profesora. Mi profesora de química, mi profesora de química, my chemistry teacher, mi profesora de química, profesora. Profesor, male. Profesora, female. Profesor, again, profesor, male teacher. Profesor. Profesora, female teacher. Maestro, male teacher. Maestra, female teacher. Okay? Then that's the way you should introduce yourself in Spanish. I'm going to do it again, this time a little quicker. Hola, mi nombre es Carlos. Yo tengo 35 años. Yo soy de Colombia. Yo estoy casado y yo soy profesor. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Or adios. Now, let's see how I introduce a friend of mine using the same information. I'm going to use the same information. Okay. Hola. Remember, I'm introducing my friend. This is Erica. Erika in Spanish. Let's pronounce it in Spanish. Erika. That's her name. That's my friend's name. Erika. Hola. Esta es Erika. Esta es Erika. Esta es Erika. Look, this is what I could say. Or if I don't want to use this is Erika, esta es Erika, I can say ella es, or I can say ella se llama. And then Erika. Ella es Erika or ella se llama Erika. Either way, okay? Depending on what is that I want to use. I can say ella se llama Erika. Ella tiene 42 años. Ella tiene 42 años. Ella tiene Well, let's type 42. Ajá, años. Ella tiene 42 años. Ella tiene 42 años. Ella es de Brasil. ¿Ok? Ella es de Brasil. Ella es de Brasil. Brasil. Ella es de Brasil. She's from Brazil. Ella es de Brasil. Ella es de Brasil. Now, marital status. Ella está, let's say she's divorced, just to practice. Now you know how to say married and single. You need now to learn how to say divorce. Ella está divorciada. Ella está divorciada. Ella está divorciada. Ella está divorciada. She's divorced. Okay? Ella está divorciada. Now, her occupation. Ella es periodista. Ella es periodista. You see? This is how you should introduce somebody. Okay? Especially a woman. Now we're going to learn how to introduce a friend, a male friend. Then let's go again. Let's start from the beginning. Hola, ella es Erika. Ella tiene 42 años. Ella es de Brasil. Ella está divorciada. Y ella es periodista. You see, I introduced my friend Erika to you. Ya les presenté a mi amiga Erika. Now, let's learn how to introduce to your friend, a male friend. This is my friend, presentando a mi amigo. Introducing my friend to you. Okay, let's call him Ricardo. Okay, let's call him Ricardo. Lo vamos a llamar Ricardo. That's right, Ricardo. Then we start saying like, él se llama Ricardo. Okay. Or I can say, él es Ricardo. Él es Ricardo. Okay. Let's say you're introducing this person to another friend, like, hey, él es Ricardo, o él se llama Ricardo. Or let's say if you get into a place with him, you're gonna say, you will need to say este es instead of él es. Este es. This is more, let's say, convenient in that situation. Este es Ricardo. And then Ricardo will say something like, hola, mucho gusto. Hey, nice to meet you. Este es Ricardo. Understand? Okay. Please let me know in the comments if it is clear. I know there's nobody here, but I know in the future you're gonna watch it. Let me know if you are comfortable with the classes, with the explanation and all that. All right, then. Este es Ricardo. Él se llama Ricardo. Él es Ricardo. Now, él tiene 37 años. Él tiene 37 años. 37. And then we have the word años. Él tiene 37 años. Now we're talking about his age. Él tiene 37 años. Él tiene 37 años. Erika tiene 42. Erika tiene 42 y Ricardo tiene 37. Y Ricardo tiene 37 años. Okay. Now, let's talk about the country. Ricardo es de Perú. Ricardo es de Perú. ¿Ok? Ricardo es de Perú. Ricardo es de Perú. Ricardo es de Perú. Okay. First we saw his name. Then you can say, él se llama Ricardo. Él se llama Ricardo. Él es Ricardo. Or I can say, este es Ricardo. This is Ricardo. Este es Ricardo. And then we move on to his age. This is how you should say your friend's age when you are introducing to your friend. Él tiene 37 años. Él tiene 37 años. Él tiene 37 años. And then we have his country, his nationality. Él es de Perú. Él es, o Ricardo es de Perú. Now, let's talk about his marital status. You're going to say, él está, then we use the word soltero. Soltero. There you go. That means he is single. Él está soltero. 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 Sí, él está soltero. Then we have the last one. The last one is occupation. We're going to say, Ricardo, we're going to use the name instead of he. Él. Ricardo es bombero. Ricardo is a firefighter. Ricardo es bombero. Ricardo is a firefighter. Ricardo is a firefighter. Es un bombero. Bombero. Repeat. Bombero. Bombero. Ricardo es un bombero. All right. So we are almost done with tonight's session. Now, I'm going to teach you how to introduce two people at the same time. Two people. You're going to say, hola, ellos son, I'm going to type it here. Ellos son Diana y Manuel. You see? Diana y Manuel. I'm using they, which is the personal pronoun. Ellos, they. Ellos son Daniel, Diana y Manuel. Diana y Manuel. And then I'm going to use Diana tiene 28 y, which means and, y Manuel tiene 29. This is a short way for you don't need to say años. It's not relevant. People know what you're talking about. You just say, Diana is 28 and Manuel is 29. Diana tiene 28 y Manuel tiene 29. Okay, that's how you say it. Okay, now, we now know the age for they, ellos. Now, let's say both are from the same country. They both are from the same country. Then we say ellos son. They are from, ellos son de Puerto Rico. Ellos son de Puerto Rico. They are from Puerto Rico. Ellos son de Puerto Rico. Ellos son de Puerto Rico. They, ellos. Ellos son de Puerto Rico. Now, let's talk about their marital status. Let's say Diana está casada y Manuel está soltero. Soltero. Y Manuel está soltero. Y Manuel está soltero, soltero y sin compromiso. Ok, soltero y sin compromiso. Single and ready to mingle. Soltero y sin compromiso. That's how you should say in Spanish. Soltero y sin compromiso. Okay, now let's talk about their occupations. Okay, I will say Diana es digamos que Diana, let's say Diana es secretaria y Manuel es un negociante, a businessman. Okay, that's how you should say it. Diana es secretaria y Manuel es un negociante. O Manuel es negociante, es un negociante. Okay. That's how you should introduce people. And then let's finish with this short dialogue. Dialogue number 1. Hola, ¿quién es usted? Hola, ¿quién es usted? Hi, who are you? Hola, ¿quién es usted? Hi, who are you? Hola, ¿quién es usted? Then the other person say, yo soy Ana. ¿Y usted? Yo soy Ana. ¿Y usted? Yo soy Raúl. Yo soy de Estados Unidos. Yo soy de Estados Unidos. I am Raúl. I'm from United States. Mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Nice to meet you. Yo soy de España. Yo soy de España. I missed the D-E there. My apologies. Yo soy de España. Estados Unidos es muy bonito. Estados Unidos es muy bonito. That means nice to meet you. I am from Spain. Remember, I forgot to include the from, which is de. Yo soy de España. I'm from Spain. United States is very beautiful. España también lo es. España también lo es. So is Spain. So is Spain. España también lo es. Okay, guys, we have made it to the end of this session. Thank you so much. I hope you can learn, you can be ready to not only introduce yourself in Spanish, but also you can introduce someone in Spanish. For example, you can introduce me to another friend of yours. That's all. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow with another topic. Have a good night. Que tengan una buena noche. Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto. Cuídense mucho. Adiós.